What's up, everyone? It's Larry at Modern Asian Movement. Let's talk about some common Asian experiences. I want you to think back to a time where you thought being Asian has impeded you or when you were embarrassed to be Asian. This could be the classic lunchbox incident where you bring your lunch to the cafeteria, open it up, it's dumplings that your mom made you, and the kids around you are like, ew, that's disgusting. What is that? It could be hearing some slanty eye jokes or ching chong jokes as a kid. Now, whether you related to those experiences or you thought of one of your own, realize that you're not alone. I think all Asians have had a couple of these moments to varying spectrums. Now, those were experiences you could vividly remember. There are also experiences that are a result of your social conditioning. And these are a little bit harder to pinpoint because these experiences affected you on a subconscious level. An example for me was the refusal to speak Chinese, my native tongue as a young child. I moved to America at the age of 7 from China, and around age 11, just 4 years later, I stopped speaking Chinese. Even to my parents who would speak Chinese to me, I would respond back to them in English, even though their English was terrible. Subconsciously, I was trying to assimilate and rid myself of my Asian identity. Another big example we see is the refusal to date other Asians. So if you're an Asian girl, for some reason you just don't find Asian guys attractive, you say things like, he reminds me of my brother. And vice versa, if you're an Asian guy, you don't date Asian girls. Another example, a self-loathing Asian, right? So you don't want to be Asian anymore. You don't want to be your race. So I kind of thought these experiences were just me, or that no one else really went through these, or I never really thought about them. They were just normal thoughts in my mind. But realize that these are common experiences that all Asians go through. And because this is universal, these are common experiences, they're not just you as the individual, realize that we're a product of the system that affects our perceptions and our views. I define the system as a combination of different factors, from the lack of representation of Asians in media, or if we are represented, it's single story narrative. So we're always the nerd, we're always the kung fu master, to stereotypes. There's a lot of negative Asian stereotypes out there, to different outside influences, social conditioning, kids making fun of us. These all affect our own perception of our race and ourselves. John Cho, the actor, has a great interview with John M. Chu, director of Crazy Rich Asians, where they talk about perception of Asians in media. And John Cho has a fire quote. He says, when you are Asian growing up in America, you think you're looking in the mirror, but you're really looking at yourself through white America's eyeballs. Damn. Many times the system hits us when we're really young, really impressionable, not conscious of our thought patterns yet. So when someone perpetuates something, or the media says the same thing over and over again, or their stereotype is perpetuated over and over again, that affects you and gets drilled into you at a subconscious level. I know that I had some unresolved feelings about my race and identity, and I had to learn. I had to literally train myself and learn how to be proud of my culture, my identity, and my race. Because if you think about it, our race, our culture, and our identity is fucking awesome. And we need to incorporate that into who we are because it's a huge part of who we are. Throughout this channel, we're going to unpack what it means to be Asian and how to own your identity and be proud of it. I want to start a movement. That's why it's called Modern Asian Movement. There's a couple key steps to this. Number 1, facilitate a discussion and share our common experiences about being Asian. This isn't talked about nearly enough. When I was doing research on this, there were a couple people talking about it here and there, but for how prominent it is, definitely not nearly enough. I think this is because it's kind of shameful. It's kind of weird to be like, oh, I feel inferior sometimes because I'm Asian. Or maybe because it's normalized to us, right? We have these thoughts from when we were young children to now when we're adults. So why would we talk about something that's normal to us? But when we share our common experiences, we can see that it's not just us as an individual, and those shared experiences, that's powerful. We can't expect a change if we don't tell our stories and voice our opinions. Number 2, discuss real solutions on how we can actively reclaim and be proud of our identity and culture. Things like actively seeking Asian role models and consuming Asian media, turning the attention internal. How can we truly be our best selves? Number 3, this is the bigger picture. This is how we can actually influence on a global level. How can we dispel negative stereotypes of Asians? How can we crush it as Asians in society? How can we influence global perception of Asians? I think this will in turn help out other minorities, all minorities in fact. And the fact of the matter is, diversity is fucking beautiful. It's what makes life interesting. Now, there's a caveat here. It's important not to get caught up in the rut of blaming everything on being Asian. I didn't get the job because I'm Asian. Girls don't like me because I'm Asian. I'm not cool because I'm Asian. John Cho says in the same interview that there's a lot of angry Asian men with their fists in their pockets, ready to strike. Realize that you have complete control of the life you want to create. Yes, it's important to speak out whenever you feel real discrimination. Yes, it's important to acknowledge that we're subject to our social conditioning. Yes, it's important to speak out when you feel microaggressions or things that don't sit right with you. But you can never, ever take blame and play the victim mentality. You have complete and utter control of your life. My goal on this channel is to start this movement. Let's take control of our identity, our culture, our race, and be proud of it. Let's truly be fucking proud of who we are. We're gonna cover a lot of topics in this channel, from dating as Asians to media perception of us. So hit that subscribe button and let's start a movement.